Say like this is like a commercial, like a brick building, and then you got like the steel door. So which way would this typically open? Would it open inside or out? So you got the pull handle. This is just like the fire station, right? You either got the switch or you got the pull handle. And so how many locks would you guess? You got the pull handle or the turner. How many locks mechanism is that? Is it like a deadbolt and a normal? Or is it like, from what you just see here, you don't see anything on it. It's smooth door. You can tell it's at least one.
I mean,
so just guessing. And
I mean, if I sat down and thought about it, then I'd probably say tube if there's a latch on the other side. Those will typically have a lock on them.
Yeah, you can have, if it has, sometimes you'll get, whether that's like a turning handle or a lot of times it'll be like that on the both sides. Sometimes you will get on like a knob that you'll grab the knob. It'll have like a lock on the inside, like you can lock it when you're on your way out.
Yeah.
But like our station, other commercial buildings, if it has like a grab handle or a latch that turns, that will not have a lock on it on the inside. So you'll basically have like this one lock, and it's like on the inside, it's like the little piece, and they just turn it, and it locks it.
Yeah.
So that is like a mega low security. So these are pretty easy to get into, but they're intimidating people because it's a steel door. So a lot of times when I go to fires where the front door is like this, they'll have beat it in with a sledgehammer because they don't know what to do. And it's their greatest option is, let me go ahead and just hit it. And you're pushing a door in that comes out when you do that. So that makes it even longer. So I can't imagine how much longer it takes to do that. And then sometimes they'll get the K12 out after they've smashed it in enough and it's bent. Then they'll start cutting the lock mechanism. That is like such a hard way to go. Typically anything like this you can work out with the irons. And that's like an emergency situation. You can go ahead and like start bending the door stuff. But if you use a shove knife or like a 12-in-1 paint scraping tool from Home Depot or Walmart, you can work this locking mechanism really easy. And it's tougher if the door is installed correctly, but if you have like a little gap here and here, and it doesn't have, sometimes they have these anti-tamper devices that are like this.
Yeah.
If you ever see that blade over it, you can't do that. But if they don't have that, you can, if they don't have it, you can get in here really cool. And what's fun about it is if you learn to work that latch, you're like the fire department ninja. People are like, oh, that's, how did you do that? And it's so impressive to go into a locked building like that. And what's really neat, if you learn this method, you can get into fire alarm places where normally we wouldn't force the door because we don't want to break it for a fire alarm with nothing to it. But we can get in there and have peace of mind that the building doesn't have fire in it. So,
and then you can secure it when you finish.
Yeah, then you can just secure it out. So, but anyway, what you do is you'll hold here, and I'll show you later, and you'll work your blade in there. And so the door, like normally, when it's facing this way, you'll have the blade here, and it's facing like, I'll give you like a 3D version here. It's like this, okay? So you're gonna have to get behind it with a hook, and you want this to go this way. So your goal is to hook and push and pull in, and then you're slowly gonna close this in this way, and then it'll go. Now, on the opposite end, on like a residential door, it'll be backwards, because you're gonna be pushing in. The door goes in, and also the lock blade is different. So on a residential door, it'll be the opposite of this. So instead of hooking from behind, it will be like you're gonna close this piece. So you're gonna come in at it, this way. So you're gonna come in at it this way, and you're gonna push this, and it's gonna force it to go this way from your force here. So basically what you'll do is you'll just stab it with a 12-in-1 tool, which is just a flat piece of straight steel, and then it'll just all of a sudden go in. But you have to feel for the deadbolt first. because you have to run a credit card to just see if the deadbolt's locked. If the deadbolt's locked, there's no way you can do that. But if it's just the bottom lock, you're good to go. So for these, steel door, you can get behind it, hook it, pull. Residential door, you push. And either way, it's magic. I've opened so many doors like that, and people are like, wow, that's cool. And then sometimes on these, we go to a lot of old, we have commercial industry that's been here for 60 years. Sometimes they're missing the deadbolt block, and you can see the mechanism hanging out. Well,
I got a tool for that.
I use the needle nose pliers. So it's pliers that have a long end there. You push it into this hole, and then you open them, and you can just like work the locking mechanism. And sometimes you can do it. They've got a key tool, which comes in our little leather kit for the K tool, and you push it here and you can move it back and forth. So between the lines of this between the needle nose and that, you can use either or. But if you come here and it's got an anti-tamper latch on it, like this, you're gonna have to use the irons. And then you're gonna have to say, am I gonna do more good than bad by getting in here? But if there's smoke coming out, we're always gonna force it. So then you're just going to traditionally, go in there, or you can peel that back, and then you're going to force it. So you're going to put in your adze or your fork, and you're going to pry, you're going to smash it, you're going to put in a door chock, and work the door. If it's real bad, and the door is installed really properly, you almost see no gap, you're going to come in with your Halligan and flathead, and you're going to smash all of this. So you smash all of this skin on the door, and all the force has to go somewhere. So you come in, you start smashing the door. You're not trying to bash it in or smash the lock. You're trying to create a gap all the way up here. And then once you have a little bit more gap, you can put a little bit more of the fork in, or the adze. And then once you get a little bit in, you're gonna push the Halligan in on the adze, and you're gonna crank it down. And once you crank it down, it'll almost open the door on its own without even prying out. You're gonna create even more force right here, and it's gonna gap it out. So from there, you can pull it down a little bit, and sometimes that's enough to force it. It'll separate the lock completely, and you can pull it out. Or you can put your wedge in, a wooden wedge, steel wedge, or while you have it crunked down, they can put the axe in the door as a wedge. That'll capture all your progress. Then you can put it in differently and pull it a different direction. So, and then if you got all that going and you walk up, you've got this steel door. It's got 2 locks. It's got anti-tamper protection. It's got an anti-K tool lock around here. But then you see bolts. What are bolts indicated? What does that let us know when we see bolts on the outside of the door?
Drop bar.
It's got a drop bar, very good. So behind here is going to be a hook, just like a coat rack or whatever on a larger scale, and it's going to hold a bar. Wood, steel, all kinds. So on the other side, it's going to have the drop bar. So how do we get the drop bar to fail?
Let's see, if we got time, we could pop the bolts.
Yeah, so we pop the bolts. So once you pop the bolts, they'll make all this mechanism looser. And all we really need to do is get in here a few inches enough to put our tool in to knock it off the track. So what you do is you come in with a sideways cut with a K12, and you just want to shear the bolt where it cuts it in half. So you cut it, you cut it, you cut it, you cut it. Doesn't take long, hopefully. And then you put your spike of your Halligan in, and you say strike. And then you're going to push all these bolts through. And it's typically not going to knock it all completely out. It's going to loosen it. So then once you get it loose, then you do another traditional pry. We're going to do the adze or the fork, and we're going to pry. And then once we get it loosened, then we're going to stick our axe in there or a Halligan. We're going to bat it up in the air. It'll knock this off the track. Then we're in. So, but normally your front door is not going to look like this. This is your back door that never gets opened. So your front door normally would just have like the bottom lock. It's the easiest to get into. So that's all the little rundown. If you all have any questions, let me know. We're gonna watch a video, then we'll do a practice.